surprised, lucky enough to be blessed. For a lot of you who missed this segment in this episode last week, we have filmmaker and artist Robert Gifford on the phone with us. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
Good. I'm doing very good, Keith. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Look, I'm honored to have you back on the show. As a matter of fact, I know we had a wonderful conversation the other day, as a matter of fact. You know, to start out, we was talking about weather, and we was talking about how cold it was. As a matter of fact, it's gotten a little colder since the last time we spoke, has it?
Oh, it's ridiculous up here. I mean, my car doesn't even want to start with the cold. I mean, it's just this. I mean, we go from hot to cold. It's like no happy medium. Maybe it's global warming or something.
I understand what you're saying. I went through the same situation, worrying about antifreeze and everything else. Now, all right. You know, last week, you know, we talked about art. You know, we spoke about what you did and you know, digital fabrication and things of that nature. And for those who missed it, you know, first of all, I want to also go back and remind everybody, all right, that the art, like as I was saying before, the art that Robert does, as a matter of fact, like it's amazing. Like I was saying before, it's almost like he breathes it, you know, onto the paper. But for those who don't know how you got started, you know, doing art again, once again, Robert, can you fill everybody in on that?
Sure. I grew up with my father's a professional artist, and my mother's actually a writer. And I learned to draw actually the human figure probably when I was in elementary school, about 5th or 6th grade. And you know, I've always worked with paints. I've worked with chalks and pencils and the whole 9 yards. And I decided to make the leap to digital a few years back, and which was, to say the least, harder than I would have thought. So if like anyone's ever seen my earlier works dating back maybe, I'd say 3 or 4 years when I made the jump to digital, you'll see the massive improvement, because I basically had to learn again how to do art with the computer. And you know, it's because you know, you put a pencil in your hand and then you replace the pencil with a stylus, and the stylus does everything. It does airbrush, it does paintbrush, it does pencil, pen. So after I acclimated myself to learning to work with the computer, that's pretty much where I am today, and that's why my artworks have drastically improved since I first started, because it was like entering a whole new world. But I've been in art all my life.
All right, now what, you know, as you speak about the difference and say that, you know, it became a little bit harder than when you used the pencil and things like that. What were some of the things, you know, maybe 1 or 2 things that you just had to get used to that was a difference? Because with digital, are you working on an operating system when you draw, or do you draw and then you transfer it to an operating system? How does that work?
No, I'm actually working on the operating system. I did that with drawing and then transferring it onto the computer, and I didn't really like it. It wasn't for me, and I was trying to feel my way out. Now I actually do everything through the computer, and I actually work in layers. So when people call me a digital artist, I actually call myself a digital fabrication artist, because I'm working with so many layers when I create something. So what I'll do is a background. I'll just create a background out of nowhere, and I'll create a template of it, and then I'll put it into a file. That's why some of my artworks you'll see a background that resembles another one, because I'm actually using that template as my base canvas. And I do everything right on the computer. I'll create templates of like models, you know, and after I'm done with it, I basically have them with no hair, no anything, and then I'll transfer that template onto the base template, and then from there I'll airbrush in the hair, and I airbrush in all the colors. Wow. And yeah, it's kind of hard to say how I do it, because I know I'm not doing it probably as easy as I could. Right. I just like the whole method of how I do it and how I create with it.
Right. Now, looking at your artwork, and a lot of people love this, but you have a style. You have a style that represents sort of a dark era. You know, a bit of a dark era, kind of like the kings and the queens, or the dungeons, or the warriors and the battlers, or, you know, different things like that. Is that particularly a style that you more so focus on, or or do you have a variety of different ways that you go about it, and that's just one that you like in particular, or?
I definitely lean more towards the gothic and the dark side of things. I'm a horror movie fanatic, and that's why I make horror films. And with any music I write, everything has a very dark edge to it, because I'm more drawn to that. Just because to me everything is like a horror movie. So you can make a horror movie on paper, you can make a horror movie on a computer, you can make a horror movie with music. So I'm drawn more to like warriors, wizards. I'm drawn to dungeons and dark castles. Very macabre in all of my works, and it's just the kid in me that loves Halloween, loves all that stuff, and that's where I go. I kind of avoid the happy Mickey Mouse stuff, because that's just not my style. I have nothing to give towards it.
Right, and to be honest with you, not to take anything away from a lot of other work, but most people enjoy that dark style also a lot more than they like the Mickey Mouse's style. You know, I think there's something.
It's a lot more fun.
Say that again.
Well, I'm saying it's a lot more fun to dive into the darker side of the creative.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of people lean towards it. I think that's why people like my work, because some people don't want to admit to it, and it's like, oh, please. Everybody's got that, that in them. They look into it. Plus, it's a lot sexier. That's why I do a lot of women.
Indeed. As a matter of fact, and you know what? I think I told you that before, but the women that you are drawing are sexy, and for everybody out there, so that they know. Robert, now you do some drawing. Well, all of your drawings and your ideas, I should say, all of your ideas come from scratch originally. So you can take someone's photo, like you said before, and then just kind of draw them in the image that you want to. But first of all, I wanted to say, yes, you have some wonderfully beautiful specimens that you start out to work with. First of all, okay. So just being able to turn that to turn them into that. Listen, how do they love it? Like when they look at some of these pictures that you draw and you take these photos of them and do this, what are they saying afterwards? I know they're like almost passing out. They're like, oh my goodness, this looks great, right?
Yeah, a lot of them really, actually all of them, they love what I do, and that's why a lot of the models that I do, that I have more than a few works that I've done with them, is after I've done the first one of them, they love it so much, and I love to work with people I'm familiar with. And and then from there I'll do another work, and I'll do another work, because I just fall in love with their image. Right. I mean, everybody in life needs a muse, and I've been lucky enough that I just keep having these wonderful women volunteering to be my creative muse, and I don't even know how to say it. When I start a piece of work with them, all of a sudden everything starts to unfold, and I just can't stop until I finish the work. I've sent it to them, and I've been lucky that they like my work.
Now, like you say, with working, being able to work with the same people, does that makes it better for you sometimes, because they know what you want, after that first time of being there for you to do their work, when they come back around or they want another project, does it make it easier that they already say, hey, we know what Robert likes, we know his style, we know what he's going to do with this, so we know how to make it easier on him? Does it work out like that?
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly how it works out. After I become familiar with somebody, and basically I just become friends with them, and they understand what I'm looking for. So like because since I can't work with everybody live like I want to work,
right.
They have to send me photographs, because I work with people all over the country and in other countries, and so they'll send me a series of photographs that I need, so I can actually get the details, the dimensions, and really see them. And it's after the first one, and I send them like the first work, they know exactly what I'm looking for. So after that, they'll send me photos knowing exactly what I need, which is simple. It's the way I always look at it. It's like the classic college art class where the model goes into the middle of the room, and she's surrounded by artists, and everybody gives that different angle from where they're drawing her. So I asked the models to send me, the different angles so I can actually create them the best I can to detail. Where I failed on a few of them, where I've gotten back and said, well, that doesn't really look like me. But about 98%, I get it correct. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Oh, okay. Now, at what point in time did you decide that you, or did it just kind of happen that way? Because also, you're dealing with filmmaking, so you're dealing with films. At what point in time did you decide that you were going to turn this, just kind of take it from drawings that you were doing to turn this into something that you would do for filmmaking and having to do with the movie projects as well?
That actually happened just by chance. I had gotten hurt seriously 3 years back. I hurt my back, and the first year I could barely walk. So I was unable to really do anything, and I just dove into just doing my artwork. And then from there, it just kind of unfolded into the rest of my world, because I've been a filmmaker since '06. I've been a musician since the '80s. I've been in art since the '70s when I was young.
Right.
So everything just kind of intertwines itself together. Like if I start something new, I find a way to put it into my other passions.
Mm-hmm.
And really, that's what happened with art. I started doing it when I was kind of bedridden, and then I just stayed with it. And then I was just falling in love, with the works I was doing. And a lot of the models I work with are very well known, and they have a large fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So their fans were liking it, and I was getting more and more out there. And people were beginning to know, me as an artist.
Right.
And then you do the research on the internet, you see all the other kind of crap I've been doing.
Yeah.
So but it all just falls in together.
Right. And even like some of the shorts, as a matter of fact, that you had directed, produced, and wrote as well. I know we spoke about last time, Greatest Women of Horror in Sci-Fi, which was a piece that you put together just kind of detailing some of your choices of what some of the, as it says, greatest women in horror and sci-fi were. Now, were you...
A lot of them I've worked with in my films, and to me they're the absolute greatest in the horror genre today, horror and sci-fi genre.
Right. Now, with that, now, okay, now that was a short, that was a short film as well, right?
That's actually an interview DVD.
Oh,
I wanted to put together a project, and it's I contacted the actresses for it, saying I had this idea. I wanted to put together this DVD of interviews,
right?
And all the ones that agreed to be on it, I sent them the series of questions, and I kind of did it. That DVD was kind of done different than the way most people would do. And because I actually had them all film their own interview,
right?
And because it's all over the country, and the only interview that I actually filmed myself was Susie Lorraine, because we're friends and we live near each other, so I was able to get together with her one day and a makeup artist, and we put that all together.
Right.
But it actually worked out. Everybody, Tara Cardinal, Max Weiser, Brooke Stevens, D.D. Bigelow, and everyone else on it did their own, except I was wrong with that. Out in California, Brooke Stevens, Max Weiser, and D.D. Bigelow were filmed by my friend Edward Navy, and he sent me over that stuff. But everybody else did their own interviews, sent me the stuff. I got behind the computer, I did an edit, and it actually came out a lot better than I thought it would.
Okay. Now, you've done a few different shorts. What was... Okay, you got Blaze of Glory under your belt, The Death Hours, No Strings, Playtime in Hell. What would you say? And I know you're satisfied with all of them. You do wonderful work, and it's your work. Which of your short films would you say that you were satisfied with the most once it was completed?
I would probably have to say the short film I was most satisfied with was one called 30 Little Dead Friends.
Oh.
And I had this fascination with killer dolls. And,
okay.
Like Stephen King always said, write about what scared you as a child. And when I was a kid, I used to always think dolls moved. You know, you could never get me in a room with one.
Right.
So, you know, I made No Strings and No Strings 2 with a demonically possessed clown doll, Larry. He's got his own fan page and the whole 9 yards. I wanted to make a short film with a smaller doll in the sense of Trilogy of Terror with Karen Black, with that that little voodoo doll that was running around. That thing scared the hell out of me. So I wanted to make a film, which wound up being a short film, with a doll that was about that size, and running around and killing people. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's probably the one I'm most satisfied with. It came out. It scares me to watch it. So.
Yeah, so it was good. Look, if it frightened you and you made it was pretty scary then. Now, have you ever thought about, and you're so busy with with your artwork and things like that, but have you ever thought about one day possibly, and I know we talked about this, but this is for everybody out there, animation, because you're doing this wonderful work, and I could see you making an animated film that included some fighting and overthrowing some things, or like you say, just that wizard, darkness, under the moon type of scenery. Have you ever thought about maybe doing an animated script or something one day?
Well, I attempted it at one time. It was kind of a failed project. One of my favorite animation movies is the classic Heavy Metal, and I wanted to do something, in that context. And I figured, it couldn't be that hard because the animation isn't great. So I figured, this would be really easy to do. And I had put together a low-res test footage that I actually have up on my Facebook page called Metal Storm 3.0. And the amount of time it took me to just do that I'd say it's probably about a minute to 2 minutes long. I had to back up. I was like, wow, I don't think I can actually, at this time in my life, give the necessary amount of time to do that, because it was so gut-wrenching to just sit for all that time just to get this little piece of test footage to see if I could do it. And yeah, at this time, I can't say that's in the future, but then again, who knows? Because it could happen, could not happen. I can't give a definite on that.
Right. Now, what are some current projects that you're working on now? Are you doing anything for any upcoming films, or just any heavy projects that are coming out, or you just kind of doing personal works right now? Or
at this time, I'm actually working on a short film, which is more about like a small project for myself. It's a short film that's only I'm going to, once done, and and all the legal stuff taken care of, I'm just going to generate it out to the film festivals.
Oh.
But it's one that I've had a script of some years back. When I had gotten hurt, I also pulled out everything. I was sitting in bed and just pulling everything out, and I came across a really horribly written script at the time called Non-Believer.
Yeah.
And I decided to revamp it, and I titled it Atheist. And the little quote underneath is, "You don't have to believe in the devil for the devil to believe in you."
Right.
And yeah, I've been working on that one. But like I said, that one's not going to be for sale or anything. It's just I'm going to, once done, just generate it out to the festivals and see maybe I can win some awards with it.
Right. Just kind of have fun with it and just do it, to see where it goes, I guess. Now,
absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. When you're when you're doing your films, what do you look for out of them, or when do you know? Because you write your shorts as well too, right?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. So now, when do you know? When do you feel like it's good? When you look at it and you hit that pen, you put that last dot or that period or whatever it is at the end of the script, and you say, "This is what I want." Is there any way of knowing that, or is it just a feeling that comes with what you wrote? Or are you seeing it in your head yourself, and you see it yourself, and you say, "Okay, I know this is it"? How do you know when it's ready to go?
Honestly, I guess I would call myself a perfectionist when it comes to it. I'm never happy with anything. I feel like nothing is ever finished after I put it down. An hour later, or a day later, or even a week later, I'll say, "Oh my God, I want to do this with it," or "I should have done that with it." So I basically just go until the point of exhaustion, where it's like I can't do any more at this point, and that's when I decide I'm going to put it down. So even if I say a day later I want to add something else, I won't do it, because I promised myself when I finally say enough is enough, it's enough, and I can beat myself up later about what I should have or could have, done with it.
Right, and the good part about that is that by the time you've said to yourself, by the time you finish that particular project 2 times ago, it's wonderful for the people that you're doing it for. But to yourself, you're always going to be your hardest critic, and so you can always see right. You can see something that somebody else would want, but it works out fine. Now, with your drawings, when you're doing drawings of people, what do you have any particular features or anything that you like to add? I know the other day when we talked, long hair was one of your favorites. Yeah.
I'm pretty much that's my one key signature. Is I will always give like a ton of hair to the models, like just wonderful mane of hair, because that's just the way I see it. Like you see a woman, she's got all this hair. Plus, I'm a child of the '80s, so big hair was big then.
Right.
And hair is my main thing. I love to add a lot of hair. The models love it. The models, the actresses, when I give them a lot of hair, it's like they love it. They're like, oh my God, I want to grow my hair out. I wish my hair looked like this. And the other thing I used to do was I used to give everybody green eyes. But that didn't go over so well, so I stopped doing that. Now I give people their correct color eyes.
Right. Now, you know what? That must feel great. When somebody can look at your picture and realize that, wait a minute, this is the look that I actually want to walk around in. This is what I want to walk down the street in, like, or that hair that you add on to them. That's got to be an amazing feeling, because you're taking people into a realm that they possibly never thought about. Because some of these visions, honestly, Robert, you can't even really get them off TV. I mean, you'll watch because you know what? Let me tell you something. Your drawings, they're out of this world. They take people into a whole new corridor, but at the same time, they're not so far off that people can't wear it. Now, for example, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I've seen, like the pictures you did of Donnelly Heisen, as a matter of fact. Sometimes, people are wearing capes and swords, and obviously somebody wouldn't go to work in that necessarily unless they're on a in an acting job. But just for the long flowing hair, like you said, and just that kind of strong look, or that goddessy look, and for you to still be able to do that and have people have women actually wanting to look like that in everyday life, like that's amazing. Like you're making them want to feel like they want to be fantasy characters, right?
I've been told that they would like to look like that.
Right.
And most people know when they work with me, you can tell me like small details that I will add in, but when it comes to hair, it's like you're gonna be surprised. Whatever I do with it, it could be blowing in the wind, it could be red, it could be down, and I'm very big on drawing women as warriors, because I think the female form is absolutely, I think the human form is absolutely amazing, and but most of my works are of women, and I like to draw powerful, strong women, and that's why when I'll take somebody and I'll draw them as this warrior, then they're like, wow, that's not me at all, but this is wonderful. That's how I see. That's how I see them when I draw them. I see them as a powerful, strong, independent, a woman that if you cross them the wrong way, they're going to slice you down.
You know what? And I think that we need more visualizations like that. As a matter of fact, I love to see more women like this in the films. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like just in general, because it's a beautiful art. It's a beautiful art form. I don't think no guy out there can tell me, you know what I'm saying, that they don't like that there's not something wonderful and beautiful about that. Now, has this, and I know we're talking a lot about the hair, but has anyone came to you and said, look, I love the hair that you've done these on the pictures, and just wanted to get their hair done like that? Because I could see, have you ever thought about maybe, I know you don't have time for it really, you're doing so much, but have you ever thought that maybe some of these salons and some of these big time beauty people might come to you and say, hey, look, we like this style of hair that you've done, because you have some things that just might not already be in the books in the salons or the hair the hair galleries?
It's well, anytime I'm approached with anything,
Mm-hmm.
I jump towards anything that somebody brings to me that has to do with creating anything. And like if someone told me to build a table, I'll go around and woodwork tomorrow. So yeah, if that happened, I would be like, yeah, absolutely. I would love to, attempt that. And you never know what you can do until you try.
Right. Now, and look, you're a New Yorker. You're a New Yorker all the way through to the core. All right. But you deal with people internationally. Have New Yorkers been your hardest critics so far? Or harder to please?
My hardest critic. I think I think yeah, like up north and in the States, people tend to be. I guess I'll say it as a tad more honest.
Yeah.
Like they feel they're just going to say it as it is. Then if I don't answer, I'll get, well, I'm just being honest.
Uh-huh.
And I have noticed I have done works for people over in the UK. I have friends over in the UK. I actually love the UK, and they tend to be a little bit softer if they're going to give criticism.
Right.
So I definitely say up north, New York, New Jersey, people tend to be a little bit more honest.
Well, yeah, and that's what made me ask that question, because just because knowing that, just knowing that myself, being someone from up north and the East Coast, it's like you're gonna get that real answer. They're gonna say, hey, we like it, or we don't like it, and so I was just wondering, because in the film industry, from my understanding, it's pretty much the same thing. Like someone can go screen a film, or you can screen a film, and if you're in NY and you're screening a film, then you're gonna hear the grunts. You're gonna hear the like they're gonna be like, oh, that movie was.
I've had my critics there. Yeah, they can be crueler than anything in the world.
Right. Now, producing. I asked you this before, but producing, which one is really your heart? Is it the producer side, the being the director, or the writer? Which one do you dive into the hardest that you find interesting?
I'd say the directing. I can't say writing, because everyone that's ever worked with me on any of my films can vouch that I go off my own script half the time, and right. I'm a huge lover of people that improv. Mm-hmm. And because I feel it brings out the best in people if they have a chance to really express themselves. So anytime I work with someone, I say, what do you think this character? Obviously, I cast them as a character. It's like, what do you think this character is? And they'll give me their feedback of what they feel the character is. So if they come up with an idea for a scene, I'll always say that's fantastic. But let's give it a take on how you suggest it, and then we'll give it a take on how it is with the script. Mm-hmm. And because the one thing that I think I drive people crazy with the most is I'll do about 3 to 4 takes on almost everything. Even if something's perfect, let's do another take. Let's do another take. Let's do another take. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely say directing, because when I start to direct, that's where I try to. Going back to what we just discussed before, make those small corrections that I thought of after I've already completed a script. Mm-hmm. So, directing. Producing, no, I hate that part. It's got to be done. It's the business, but I'd say directing.
Right, because are you saying that the producing is just, like you said before, there's a paperwork involved and, all these other things, and you're just kind of like the point and go kind of guy. You know, once your mind is set on it, your mind creates it, you just want to give that idea, direct it, and then let's go with it from there, and just make it happen after that.
I mean, the producing, you got to deal with all the legal crap. You got to deal with the lawyer or the lawyers. Mm-hmm. You got to deal with talking to the distribution company, or talking to not just anybody. Like it's not as much fun. That's basically where you get like cramps in your butt because you're sitting so long because you're always on the phone.
You're right. Now, okay, now you're for the people out there now. You deal with I want to say a lot of heavyweight situations. for ladies and for the women out there who see your drawings or may start to look at your drawings now in case they haven't been before, they look at your artwork and they want to get something done. They say, hey, I want to look like this. You know what I mean? Is there do you do work for the civilians or for the people out there, for the women who might contact you and want something done? Are they able to too, or is there red tape to go through?
It's well, the best way I can say that is I'm always willing to work with someone, and if somebody actually contacts me and they send me a picture, and all of a sudden it's like we're all like this. Like you'll see a picture, and it's like oh my God, mm-hmm. I want to create with this image. I want to draw something with this image.
Right.
I do, but I can't say everyone that contacts me I can do that with. Because I actually attempted that, mm-hmm. and I was buried in emails in a matter of like 2 days, and I was like, okay, I got to pull back. I can't just put that open
invitation
door thing out there. But I always tell anybody, if you can contact me, I will respond, and then we'll take it from there. I can't promise that I can do, mm-hmm. but I'm not saying that I won't do it. It all depends on what I'm doing at the time. If I feel that wow, something can really be done with this image, mm-hmm. and it's basically like a give and take. So there's no promises. I tell everybody contact me, by email. And the other thing is, since I get so many emails, just like title your email possible artwork or artwork maybe to be done, like something that'll just let me, because I'll go through emails and just get rid of a lot of them just by the titles.
Right.
So like just let the title know, what you're doing, like question about artwork. I'll answer it, I'll read the email. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the best way I could say that. I'm not sure if that all made sense or if it's confusing.
Absolutely. It makes a lot of sense because, you want people to email you, and then, like you say, a lot of mails coming through looking like spam. And if it's not, and if it's not something that you can tell is directed to what you do in particular, to at least get them past that point of you even bothering to listen to what they're saying, you know what I mean? So that makes sense. Now, where can everybody out there go to see your artwork? Where can the ladies find it and go look at some of it? Is there a website, or I know before we talked about Facebook? Can they go to Facebook and check it out? Or
actually, I just about 2-3 months back, I just put up my official website. I condensed all the websites I had for films and everything else, and I condensed them all down into one website. You can see my artworks on there. You can go to a page. You can go to the IMDb, bring you to the IMDb links. It'll bring you to reviews about my films, about my artworks, interviews I've done about my films, about my artworks. You could go to the gallery and check out my artworks. There's stores on there. It's still being added onto. So right now, the only thing in movie store is the Greatest Women of Horror and Sci-Fi mm-hmm. DVD. But as time goes on, and I get to that, I'm going to be adding to that. There's going to be a page added soon about people that want to inquire about having artworks done for them. Mm-hmm. And so the best way there is you can contact me through the website. You can see the artworks. You can read the reviews. You can like the whole 9 yards. So the best place I would say is to go to my official website. Okay,
and go ahead and put that out there for everybody.
Oh, sure. The official website is www.rngworks.com.
Okay, www.rngworks.com. And listen, for everybody out there, like I say, check out the works, guys. You're gonna love it because look, these women are looking beautiful. He's got them looking all like something. That might be going on in the back of your minds. And ladies, and ladies as well. If you want a wonderful picture on your wall of yourself, and you see yourself in that way, make sure you contact or send Rob. Go to the website, find out how to contact him, and send him the correct, proper form of email, and he'll have time to get back to you. Also, the films. Like he said, go to the IMDb page and check out some of the short films and just keep up with everything that Robert Gifford has going on. I know when you talk to him, he's humble, he's laid back, he's that New York kind of guy, so he's just like, yeah, it's, it is what it is. But he's doing a lot of big things. For those of you who might not already know who he is, he's doing a lot of major things, and really a heavyweight mover in this industry as a filmmaker, an artist, and also maybe you'll jump back into doing the music one day as well too, Rob.
It could be. I mean, I write. I still write, compose left and right. So
yeah,
it just might be. That was the fun days when I had no money and I thought I was a rock star. I lived like one, but I had no cash.
Hey, but it was fun though, wasn't it?
Oh my God, the best days of my life.
I know that's right. Listen, Robert. Everybody out there, all across the land, all across the globe. This is Robert Gifford. Make sure you go check him out on the website. Look, Robert, I'm glad you came back on. We'll be checking back with you in a few months as well. Also, everybody out there, you can keep up with my Facebook page too and social networks too, because I'll be posting his artwork and upcoming projects as well. So you can check that out, and somewhere you can find a link how to follow him from that point. In case you weren't writing this down. Listen, Robert, it's been wonderful talking to you. Once again, I appreciate you coming back on and speaking to me again. Also, for anybody out there, just in case you're just tuning in, you might be just coming home from work or something like that, or just finishing dinner. Just know that you can go to the Facebook, the Twitter sites, also YouTube page, Keith Harris Show GN, and check out this interview in full as well in case you missed anything. Listen, Robert, it's been wonderful talking to you. I'm getting ready to hang up now and go eat something and go check out what you've been doing and go look at some more of your artwork, man. You take care and stay warm up there, bro.
Thank you, Keith. It was great being on the show.
All right, we'll talk soon, Robert.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was Robert Gifford, everybody.